Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Thursday, January 23rd. Wow. What a 24 hours it has been. Liam Cohen respectfully declines the Jaguars' second interview on the day that he was supposed to come interview, deciding instead to stay in Tampa as their offensive coordinator, getting paid very well. But offensive coordinator money is not head coach money, right? Liam Cohen was the second candidate for the Jacksonville Jaguars that decided to take a different job or to keep the right. Ben Johnson headed to Chicago to be their head coach. He was high on their list. Instead of coming for an in-person interview this week, he decided to just go to Chicago. That's where he wanted to be. And you heard several reports from several credible sources that Ben Johnson was not a big fan of the setup in Jacksonville. And then Liam Cohen yesterday decides he's not going to come for his second interview. He's withdrawing his name from the Jaguars head coach search. And several hours later, you get the news from the Jaguars that they're firing Trent Baalke. And, I tweeted it out yesterday. What will Shad Khan do if no one is willing to work with Trent Baalke? Well, we found out. We absolutely found out. And I don't believe that it was a mutual parting of ways. Not for a second. But, that's what teams say to keep it respectful, keep it polite. The Jaguars moved on from Trent Baalke yesterday. And, that's huge. It is huge to have a clean slate moving forward. And Jaguars fans should be excited because Trent Baalke was holding them back in terms of their coaching search, in terms of really pushing things into the future. He was. But the timing is absolutely awful. It's like Shad Khan was not paying attention, was not listening when folks told him that people probably aren't going to want to work with Trent Baalke. And you saw it last time in 2022. Trent Baalke was an impediment for potential head coaches. And that's the same thing that happened here. Folks are not excited about working with Trent Baalke. And it's not as much about his football acumen or his ability to draft, pick players in free agency. It's not as much about that stuff because he's done some decent things. It's really the fact that he survives. And how does he do that? He does it by, when things go south, he paints himself in a very pretty light. He makes himself say, hey, we've got the roster. We've got the best team ever assembled in Jacksonville, right? So I think that combined with, I don't think he does the best job of just working with coaches consistently and making sure that he's doing what's in their best interest for their vision of the football team. So, look, the timing is horrible here because you're now 3 weeks behind, right? 3 weeks behind. You could have been searching for a GM and a head coach at the same time over the last several weeks. A lot of top candidates have been hired from a general manager perspective and from a coaching perspective. That's a fact. So we're going to talk about Baalke's legacy here a little bit, what he's left here to move forward with. Will Shad Khan hire the right people? How's this search going to go moving forward? All this good stuff here today. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear, like the hat I'm wearing right now. Maybe you want to celebrate. We've got a lot of fun stuff on the site. So Trent Baalke's legacy after being the Jaguars general manager from 2021 through the 2024 campaign. Ultimately, some very good times here with Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson. Some very bad times as well. You look at the 2022 campaign, which, 9-8, they went on a magical run to end the season. They had an unbelievable win in the playoffs, and they took the Chiefs to the brink in the divisional round, right? So That was a lot of fun. The beginning of 2023 was also a lot of fun, even though things weren't like perfect. They were still 8-3. Trevor Lawrence was playing good football. The defense was turning the ball over, and then things fell apart with injuries at the end of the season. I think that they were probably not well coached in 2023 on offense the entire way through. They were not getting the most out of Calvin Ridley. They were not getting the most out of their run game, right? Um, and then in 2024, we all know what happened, right? It was just one of the worst seasons in Jaguars history. So there were some good things he did from a draft perspective, from a free agency perspective. That 2022 free agent class was really awesome. 2021 draft class was very good. I think that 2023, 2024, pretty good draft classes so far. 2022, Trayvon Walker is all you got, and you really should have had Aiden Hutchinson instead. Trayvon Walker is a very good football player, but he is not Aiden Hutchinson. But look, there were issues with his roster building style. Like, he really screwed the pooch at corner this year. I think he's consistently, even though he got Brian Thomas Jr., not put together a good enough outside wide receiver core for the Jaguars to be really successful with Trevor Lawrence. So yeah, Trent Baalke's legacy, a solid little run there, but ultimately someone that coaches will not speak positively about. Urban Meyer, Doug Peterson, obviously Jim Harbaugh. His legacy is going to go down as one of the worst general managers in Jaguars history. Maybe the worst. Certainly the most hated by fans. Fair or unfair. That's just the way it is. And he's had a really poor record over the last decade as a football executive. That's the facts. And so the good news is he hasn't left this thing bare. There is talent here. There's a good amount of talent in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, right? Brian Thomas Jr. You have some talented backs that certainly you need to get more out of. Backs that I don't think should be handed their jobs next year. I think they should be fighting for their jobs a little bit, but they have talent. Offensive line, you have 2 offensive tackles in place that are good quality tackles. I think you can work on your interior. I think Ezra Cleveland was a good pickup, though. You've got Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker. I think Mason Smith showed enough to get excited about at the end of the year. Eric Armstead moving back inside. You've got talent at linebacker. You've got Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones, an ascending young corner there. You got great special teams play. So, look, he did not leave this roster bare. And he didn't leave this team in a situation where they don't have the resources to improve the roster or to have flexibility to kind of, whoever's making the decisions next, make this thing their own, because they have the ability to get close to $60 million in cap space, right? Certainly can get well over $50 million in cap space with a few moves here and there, if that's the path they want to take. They have tremendous draft assets, the 5th pick overall, 2 third-round picks as well. There's a lot in Jacksonville for a potential head coach to get excited about. Potential GM. I mean, who is going to be the GM? Ethan Waugh is the interim GM right now. So there is a path forward here for the Jaguars. But from a process standpoint, this has been absolutely horrible, which comes as really no surprise. And we're going to continue talking about it. First, got to remind y'all, making picks on Underdog is straightforward. Signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code DuvalDaily, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. We have got conference championship games coming up this weekend. Maybe you want to get a little piece of the Saquon Barkley action, Maybe you picked him to score a touchdown last week. You want to do it again. Underdog has vulture protection to rescue your pick'em if your running back gets vultured. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Duval Daily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 90 plus, Alabama, Nebraska, 90 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus, Massachusetts and Arizona. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you are supporting us. So, the Jaguars could have done this 3 weeks ago, right? And had a clean process. They could have fired the head coach and the general manager at the same time and had a real search here. And who knows, if that was the case, maybe Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen would be here. And I don't think you should rule Liam Cohen out. I know he already committed to Tampa, but you're still offering a head coach job with, potentially the ability to bring in your own general manager or work with ownership, work with whoever to figure out who should be the GM. Maybe that's enticing to Cohen. Maybe not. Who knows? I know Shad Khan can write a lot of zeros on that check. But again, what a horrible process. And that kind of leads to the question, even though Shad Khan is gone, or Shad Khan is not gone, excuse me. Even though Trent Baalke is gone, will Shad Khan hire the right people? Will he figure out a process here that can work for the Jaguars to hire the right people? That's ultimately the issue here that remains in Jax. Like, can he put together a coaching search moving forward, a general manager search moving forward that can lead them to hiring the right people? Or can he just get lucky, right? One of those two things has got to happen for the Jaguars to have a chance moving forward. And again, will the next head coach lead a general manager search? Will Ethan Waugh retain his job? It would be very, very, very Shad Khan for Ethan Waugh to be not just the interim GM, but the full-time GM moving forward. That would not be shocking. I mean, he's never done a clean sweep. Never. So we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, who are the candidates potentially? If you're talking about a general manager search, right? I think you look at, I've always loved Chad Alexander. We've talked about him here. Borgonzi is gone. Spytek is gone. Spytek to the Raiders, Borgonzi to the Titans, your division rivals, a couple other guys. Ray Agnew has always been someone we've looked at here. Ian Cunningham, the Bears assistant GM. So there will be options out there. There's no question. And there's going to be a lot more names out there that could be on the list. But who knows if the Jaguars are even going to be looking for a general manager? We don't know. Maybe they hire the coach and then they say, what are we going to do about the GM? I don't know. But I would not be shocked if Ethan Waugh retains his job. And look, I like Ethan Waugh. I like him a lot. And the few times that we've talked to him, picking his brain, and I think the Jaguars have done a better job drafting since he got here. I think he's been a big part of what they've done from a positive standpoint. But I think a clean sweep is in the best interest of the organization. I really do. Who are the coaching candidates? You have Patrick Graham and Robert Saleh coming in. I think right now Robert Saleh is viewed as the leader in the clubhouse for the Jaguars job. But as I suggested, and as a lot of folks have suggested, I would not be surprised if, and in fact, I would be disappointed if the Jaguars don't wait till after conference championship weekend to see if maybe they can interview a Joe Brady for a second time, a Todd Monken, a Kellen Moore, and just pick the brains of these guys a little bit more. No pun intended with Kellen Moore there. And see, can you land Joe Brady? Could you land Joe Brady and Robert Saleh? Could you land Joe Brady and Patrick Graham? If you could do that, I mean, that could be huge for this team moving forward, because I think Joe Brady is a fantastic offensive coordinator, offensive mind, and he fits the bill of a young, creative coach that Shad Khan's looking for, that Trevor Lawrence is looking for. He's always been high on my list. Y'all have heard me talk about Joe Brady for a long time. I've always liked him. My one reservation with him compared to Liam Cohen, compared to Ben Johnson, is that when he's had success, it's been with, borderline generational talents, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and then his second gig that was successful in recent years, is with Josh Allen. But he absolutely has upgraded the Bills offense in a massive way since he took over as their offensive coordinator, during the 2023 campaign. So those are the options moving forward. Again, the Jaguars, even though it's January 23rd, there are a ton of great candidates out there. There still are. Absolutely, no question about it, to lead the Jaguars into the future from a head coach and a general manager perspective. If you think that the market has dried up, that's not the case. There's a lot of good people out there. If you question whether or not Shad Khan will lead a process that will lead to better results, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. Because it seems like he doesn't really listen, or he doesn't have a big circle to give him advice. I absolutely do think he should be leaning on Tony Baselli in some form or fashion. I don't know that it should be as the EVP. I think it really should be more as special assistant to the owner, the same setup that the Lions currently have with Spielman. But whoever's been giving him advice, and maybe it's just been Trent Baalke, it's been bad. And fortunately, the Jaguars, there's hope because they now have a little bit more of a clean slate potentially. And now maybe have Shad Khan leaning on different folks, hopefully a Tony Baselli, hopefully someone like that, to kind of get this thing going in the right direction. We will see how this plays out over the next several days. Really appreciate y'all supporting the channel again through the good times and the bad. It's been awesome here. I really appreciate all of y'all. Let me know what you're thinking about the Jaguars' future moving forward in the comment section below. Y'all have a good one.